Welcome back. It is the last day of the event window. You know what that means. It is finals day as the world's best arrive on site once again here at the Western Australia Margaret River Pros top 5 on the WSL Championship Tour. Michaelani DeVault on a mission, climbing the rankings at this venue. Kayo Ibelli with a big job ahead of him today if he wants to stay on tour. Same with this guy, Seth Moniz, looking to save his place on the Championship Tour with a big heat against Ewing to kick things off. Ethan looking so sharp throughout the season so far, currently sitting in second spot on the rankings and looking all the part a top 5 finisher this season. Welcome back to the show. Ronnie Blakey joined by a couple of legends. Richie Lovett, former CT campaigner. How are you, Rich?
Good morning, Ron. Yeah, amazing.
Matt Chinoski also joining us here in WA, Matt. A big week, mate. Beautiful weather. Not a lot of surf, but it looks a little different out there today.
Yeah, a few extra feet on the waves and a few extra inches on the boards. Surfers scrambling to find some step-ups. We have a new swell, new wind, and finals day.
And we're going to have a couple of champions by this afternoon, Richie, and everyone looking super psyched. The warm-up session, it was mind-blowing.
Yeah, absolutely. We came down this morning, incredible waves, and everyone getting frothing around, getting used to new equipment that we haven't seen all week. So we're on, mate.
We know that we're on. Let's just find out what the format's going to be today. A big good morning to Stace. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks, Ron. Morning, Rich. Morning, Wax. Morning, Jesse. Clearly we're on. What's the program?
Clearly we're on the last day of the event window, and so obviously we've got these 4 remaining heats of the men's round of 16. Then we're going straight into men's quarterfinals, women's quarterfinals, and then all the way to the finish. So right now we're going to be running overlapping heats for these first 12 heats. Obviously we've waited to put as much as we could into this day. Like, we've been looking at Sunday for, you and I think, probably been talking about this for the last week. So it's great that we're here, and it's great that it's actually probably a bit better than we even thought it would be. It's definitely bigger than we're expecting. So it's pumping out there. It's great to be here and to have good waves for everyone.
Certainly. Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, Stace. Let's get it done. Look, we're not wasting any daylight hours today, so we actually got the surfers out there. There was waves approaching, so bang, they sounded the hooter, and we're underway here with the first heat of the morning. We've got to get through the rest of the round of 16 and set up the quarterfinal bracket on the men's side. Ethan Ewing sitting number 2 on the rankings at the moment. Seth Moniz just outside the cut line at this stage of the game, Rich. And this is a huge heat for Seth. He's looked probably the sharpest he's been all year, and he's going to have to continue to improve because Ethan's been on a whole new level.
Yeah, absolutely. And just with conditions the way they are, you know, it sort of doesn't fall into Seth's favour as we see live action.
Look at that extra size in the swell today as Seth rips into that first turn. This wave's starting to taper off, and he's going to give up on this one, but a big set exploding on the outside too.
Yeah, look, you can see here it's a totally different playing field to what we've seen this entire event. But I was just saying, you know, as the conditions are unfolding in front of us right now, you've got to think that Ethan Ewing, he is going to tear into this sort of stuff. But you're right, Seth has been surfing better than ever. I feel like he's surfed his way back into form these last few events. And, well, with a do-or-die situation in front of him, he is going to have to put it all on the line.
Well, here's the 4.67 from Seth early on in the heat.
Yeah, so the first wave written of the day, and it looks like a little barrel on the end section there for Seth. So we haven't seen too many barrels in this event. He goes to that little end turn, and this was a replay of that 3.83. So a nice hook to start things off. And another one here, just loses a bit of momentum and has to pet the kitty there to get the momentum, the ride out of that, and he's faced with a 4-wave set from behind him. Jet ski assist today.
You've been pretty close down there in the Red Bull Athlete Zone as Seth's been preparing for each of his heats on his run through this event, Matt, and he's leaning into the big throbbing surf brain of Doug Silver, a former competitor himself, but he's got some interesting ways in getting Seth prepared for big heats like this.
Yeah, if Seth's going to get through this, it will be through that composure, to be through becoming present and actually just surfing with a lot more purpose and thinking about the preparation, thinking about the wave selection, and tying it all in with his connectivity. He needs a breakthrough result today, and if he gets through it, it won't be through any coincidence.
Yeah, Rich, Doug Silver just helping Seth get out of his own head a little bit, really focus on just his surfing and just taking, I think, a real composed approach to this heavy situation that he finds himself in, and giving him the belief that he can progress.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes, you know, having that companionship and someone just basically, you know, sort of mind-bending you into believing that you can do it is what you need. It eliminates everything around you. It keeps that positive affirmation going in your mind. And, you know, it strips all that negativity away and opens you up to be able to surf freely and openly. And as you said, Matt, feel connected and have that belief. And this is the moment he needs to let it all hang out and shine. But, you know, Doug Silver, he's a real character. Here we go, Ethan Ewing.
This is what Seth's up against, though. Ethan Ewing, the world #2 at the moment. Put him on a big right-hander, and he's going to be very dominant. But this wave has been a little sleepy so far. Let's see how he can finish it off. Just gets a little swamped in the whitewater there.
Yeah, it's a new swell. Lots of energy in the lineup. And generally, as these new swells arrive, they have a lot of power behind them. A lot of force behind these waves. And these are by far the biggest waves we've seen for the last 10 or 12 days here in Margaret River. So a quick adjustment needed to be made by all competitors.
Make his way back out now. Ethan Ewing, as we see Seth, wave #3 for him. Good looking section standing up here. Digs in on the first turn. Nice layback to get started. Up into the pocket again. Winds through a top carve, but doesn't really get too much out of it. But does really well on the inside here. Nice little tail drop over the boiling section of water, and there is jet ski assist on offer for the competitors this morning.
Yeah, they're going to have to make their way all the way in past that rock shelf, in through the inside channel, so the jet ski is able to pick them up. It won't access the surfer on the shelf unless there's a broken board or a broken fin or leg rope. So Seth making his way in, and they'll take him all the way back around to the left out to the back of the wave.
A couple of minutes in that transition to get onto the ski here. This will be a great example. Straight onto the back of the sled, you'll see Seth climb up, jump onto the back of the ski.
It's been a good start, a positive start for Seth here, but we do have 40-minute heats, that dual heat format being brought into play here today. So there's a lot of chances for this battle to seesaw.
Yeah, Ethan up and riding, and you know, this is what this guy does. He cuts deep into the water. These calves, so much power and intent behind them. This one, just a series of cutbacks. So the judges will really show some restraint on that one. I love the first turn on this wave, Matt. Really dug into it.
Huge bottom turn, and that hooking it in the pocket with a little layback variation, and up again for this nice searing re-entry, nice pace, eyeing off this end section, and he didn't finish his last one. So here it sucks out, the ledge goes dry, and he rides out. So that's going to be a nice score, maybe his best one yet, and showing some variety and some composure. This first turn, this is where the money's going to be at. Look at that, it right in the hook of the pocket, digs the rail, the whole rail engaged, but he stays really high, and he aligns himself up for this next bottom turn, and he gets a nice wrapping turn. And that wave tapered off a little bit, but staying on top of his board, staying centered, not pushing it too far, and eyeing off this end section, knowing it's going to suck. Look at that, it's just completely dry under him. He stays really high, steps right on the tail here to lift the nose up, and just skips on top of the ledge there. So there's a lot of drama in that wave, and a difficult one to surf. He did so well.
Quality stuff there. Quality start from Moniz. I mean, the finish, it was a tricky section, a lot of foam on the face. Did well to push the fins to almost the point of complete release, but held it in and got the finish. 5.23 is the score, and he takes the early lead here. Ethan Ewing, he's after a 6.57. Let's suss out the epic rankings, live rankings. And there's been some movement for Seth, up one place. It's been a positive move for him, and have a look how vulnerable these surfers are at the back end of the bubble.
Wow, just sitting just below the cut line, Seth Moniz. We know that he has to progress out of this heat against Ethan Ewing if he wants to re-qualify for the tour. And we can see Kayo Ibelli, still danger man, still in the draw. Ian Gentile, Miguel Pupo, Cade Matson, they're all out, so it really is Kayo and Seth. They could be the big movers of today.
And what's wild is Kayo is going to be in that overlapping heat. So if Seth makes it through. Kayo's in a very precarious position, and he still has to overcome Geordie Smith.
Oh, these guys are psyched about the lift in the swell. Don't worry about that. Griffin Colapinto, Jake Marshall, Kayo Ibelli. You know, it's really weird to come to the west and it turn into a small wave high performance contest. This is a bit more like it. A lot of push out there, even though we've seen it bigger. This wave matter, it's got a history of just sorting surfers out, and more often than not, those that can harness the power that's provided by this wave and choose the right equipment go onto the win.
It's the first CT event that ever had jet ski assist. Way back in 2004, it was Jake Patterson and CJ Hobgood in the heat, and it was so big the surfers agreed to it. They said, yep, because the idea is that the fans want to see surfing. They come down, they gather here on the point to watch people surf, not paddle, and that just accelerated the action that we'll be seeing in the heats.
Yeah, you've got to tip your cap to those originals, the pioneers that explored this region and headed out into this big open ocean, almost bomby-like wave, and tackled it. No wetsuits. Legends. Here we go. Seth up again, trying to drop a 4.67 to increase his lead here. Just staying really busy out here at the moment. As we see Ethan with one of the deepest, most drawn-out bottom turns we've probably seen in the event. Unfortunately for Ethan, the wave completely laid flat on him.
Yeah, Ethan just hasn't really connected with one of those good set waves that are offering him that big open face that he's used to laying down that big power carb, but it's there, isn't it? Just shades of that bottom turn. Looked so magnificent. But I do like the form of Seth Moniz right now. Looks good on his board. He's coming off the bottom well.
Yeah, Ethan just so far just hasn't connected with a wave that's offered a steep opportunity to lay down one of those trademark carving turns. In the free surfs over the last few days, I've got to say, I think Ethan's looked the best. So strong. Here's a replay of that last wave for Seth.
Yeah, big swooping cut back into the whitewash here. Seth just patiently waiting for this next section. Just gets another little top turn and then just hits the eject button. Sees that reef starting to expose under him and goes, I'm out of here.
Just over 27 minutes to go. And this Surfline forecast, well, it's come through at the perfect time. The last day of the event window, Sunday, the 21st of April, and we are into it. Just approaching 7 a.m. here, but here's what we're looking at today.
Yeah, so that west-southwest swell's peaking today, and it came back last night, so we had a different period. You could hear the waves crashing overnight. We do have light offshore winds this morning, and it will go slightly onshore, as it usually does towards the lunchtime. But we're going to have a great day of competition. Plenty of waves to overlapping heats. 8 to 10 foot faces, maybe even a tad bigger on some of the sets today. Came in a little bit, I think, a little more solid than people expected. The onshore later on may provide a few air sections.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting day. I just love the adaptability of these surfers. They're so good, just how they can transition from these small conditions. Now we've got solid big wave surfing, just a lot of chatter in the competitors area this morning. How much bigger? 2 inches, 3 inches bigger on the boards, the step ups. And a lot of surfers out there this morning just trying to figure it out, because they haven't had this opportunity all week to really figure out those bigger boards.
26 minutes to go here. Seth still holding on to the lead at the moment. Ethan after a 6.57. This just one of many great matchups we can look forward to today, Kaipo.
Yeah, that's right, Ron. Here at the Bailey Ladders leaderboard, and the matchups are playing out before us. Right now, Seth Moniz in a must-win situation. Seth Moniz makes his heat, he makes the cut. Seth Moniz does not make this heat, Connor O'Leary will be qualified for the back half of the season if either Seth or Kayo Ibelli make it through this heat. Now, if both Seth and Kayo lose out in this round of 16, it opens up the door for not just Connor O'Leary, but also Sammy Pupo will make the cut, as well as Yago Doro. So these next two heats are very telling heats when we look at CT qualification into the back half of the season.
Wow, it's going to be so intense. We've got Kayo on screen gearing up for his heat at the moment. He's actually looked really relaxed and looked confident around the event site the past couple of days, as Ethan looks to drop his best number here. Needs a 6.57 to get ahead of Seth. Bit of foam on the face, but he still cuts a deep rail line through it. and gets a tidy finish here. This will be his best wave. On the outside, though, the hungry Seth Moniz up on wave number 5. Working this one over. The surfers have been struggling to connect with really steep sections, but Seth finds a couple here to finish this wave off. Great combination from him. The young Hawaiian really fighting hard to keep his spot on tour at the moment.
How good does he look right now? This morning, this is the best and most connected and in tune I've seen Seth in a long time in a heat. He's totally engaged here. Looks fantastic on this board. Just looks really confident with every turn that he's making. And he's really going to push Ethan here because, you know, we're used to Ethan dropping these big scores and really shutting their competitors out early. And he hasn't had it all his way. Seth's building some pressure here.
Yeah, so light-spirited as well. He's just cruising through the free surfs, up and around the town. He's just carrying this really light feeling, and he's just that's that adaptability that you need to have in these conditions.
Ethan Ewing here just cuts a nice carve there. Roundhouse cut back, full rebound off the foam, and another. Comes through to the inside, good flow, but a foamy wave, difficult to surf, nothing too spectacular. Seth, a little bit cleaner, Matt.
And yeah, Seth, this is that 4-turn combo. Couple of nice wraps to start. A little foamy on the end of that. Tail slide was nice, carrying some momentum through here. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the camera angle was different to Ethan's. This is the camera down the line. This is that front angle, the comparison. So nice turn there. So that one actually looks a little nice. Gets caught at the end there. Little bigger wave from the front angle. And a searing carve here. Stays in that top third of the wave. And wraps it all the way back around to the pocket. And then here, eyes off this tail slide. See him up here staying centered over his board. And kicks the tail there, so that's a beautiful turn. This angle is actually playing into Seth's favor. And he's not done yet. Making his way through to the inside and gets a nice completion.
Yeah, probably the single most dynamic move laid down in the heat so far, but on the inside, one thing that Seth's going to have to watch, those rail turns on the outside. If you're in a carve-off with Ethan Ewing, you've got to keep those rails clean, and the judges will be picking up on that, Rich.
Yeah, they definitely will. I do like that he is attacking. He's kind of coming up into the hook of the wave, really trying to stay in the most critical part, which he's going to need to do. And yeah, if you want to get into a carve-off with Ethan Ewing, you have to be totally on point.
But Seth would be aware of that and probably attack those inside sections a little harder, knowing that he had to make up some points. Probably got a decent score on the way here. We've got more big heats coming your way, but we are going to take a quick break here. Geordie Smith will be coming up next. The Western Australia Margaret River Pro is brought to you by Tourism Western Australia, official tourism partner of the Western Australia Margaret River Pro. By Bonsoy, the official milk of the World Surf League. By Rusty, official apparel of the Western Australia Margaret River Pro. And by Shiseido, official sunscreen partner of the World Surf League. Great to have your company here on finals day at the Western Australia Margaret River Pro. Scores in for the last exchange. And a couple of our competitors watching on and taking a keen interest in what's unfolding out here at the moment. Griffin Colapinto and Jack Robinson. As we see Seth, who's leading Ethan Ewing at the moment, take off again building nicely in this heat, getting well rewarded on his previous wave at 6.5, and on the attack once again, trying to better a 5.23 on this one. Ethan at the moment chasing a 5.81, hasn't really connected with the right kind of wave out here at the moment, and I guess early on in the event, you know, wave selection's kind of been difficult to figure out. You've just taken what's come your way.
Yeah.
Today, there's some more choices to make as we introduce Heat 6, the round of 16. Geordie Smith and Kayo Ibelli, they're entering the lineup now too. And it is another big clash for one of the competitors there, Kayo Ibelli. He's surfing to save his place on the CT. Geordie Smith looking to climb a few rungs on the ladder.
Yeah, Seth Moniz here. Two-stage carve down, the opening manoeuvre. Big wrapping roundhouse through to the inside, stands up, connects with it. The angle's a little soft on that final manoeuvre, but just getting this work done. His wave rate right up there, staying super busy. You're just looking at Ethan Ewing's score on that last wave, the 5.93, as we watch Seth again, just the technique, beautiful. You can see that rounded pintail, just biting into the wave face. It's nice and low off the bottom. Keeping all that momentum as he brings that cutback all the way round. Staying nice and high on the wave. Drawing off the bottom again. Connects with the lip, doesn't over-rotate. Little airdrop, finishes it off.
This is an amazing turnaround in form for Seth. Just that he's run through this contest so far. He hasn't been at his best. I think his confidence has been lacking big time through the first events, despite the fact he cracked the quarters at home at Sunset Beach. He's looked off, he's looked shaky, and right now he looks very much switched on. 5.37 on the last wave. It's a big turnaround.
Yeah, and in a heat situation, all you want is opportunity, and they've got a lot of waves here today, and it's very consistent, and really do your best. I mean, you've got to this situation. You are in the elite World Championship Tour. You have the skills, and getting somebody like Doug in the background to help harness that and really, yeah, make you believe and remind yourself that you are capable at this level, and you know, you put the possibility of what could happen is at your fingertips. You just have to go out there and ride waves.
Sometimes your brain can be your own kryptonite, and it gets in the way sometimes. And when you start losing and you feel like your performances aren't up to scratch, that can manifest, and it almost snowballs, and it's so hard to break that rhythm. And in contrast, you can get on a good rhythm like Ethan Ewing is on, and everything just seems to flow and happen really easy. But it's not happening easily for Ethan Ewing in this heat so far. The one positive thing for him is that, you know, that mediocre wave for him still netted that 5.93, that score, which is pretty decent for a kind of an average wave. So the judges really noting just how much power and sort of the deepness of the carve that Ethan's really putting into this.
Yeah, just surfs with such unparalleled flow as well. He's made a real habit this year of dropping excellent scores. Only needs a 5.95. So as well as Seth has constructed the opening half of this heat, I'd say that it's still well within reach for Ethan Ewing at this stage of the game. Yet to see Geordie Smith and Kayo Ibelli come to life, but Geordie's going to relish the opportunities to lay down his best surfing in bigger conditions today.
That was a
The
bailout.
last couple of spots have been short on swell, and this is a really big opportunity for Geordie to get himself a win today, I feel.
Yeah, he was really excited walking into the contest zone today on that exercise bike, sort of licking his lips at this, and he's a name that we haven't, he sort of slid under the radar at this event because the conditions have been challenging. The eyes have been on the stars and surfers in the cut. Geordie safe from the cut. I mean, this is right in his wheelhouse. He's one of the world's best power surfers, and he has been for the last decade.
He has, and he saved himself a couple of moments in clutch marginal conditions in this event, which kind of tells you that the hunger levels are there for Geordie. But it'd be interesting, you know, where you talk about him not really being on the radar. That's what happens when you go long periods without victories, as someone who has in the past contended for world titles. So you want to get back on the radar, get yourself a win, and get up into that final five conversation. Geordie's been moving up the rankings nicely, sitting in 9th at the moment.
Yeah, looking pretty good. I dare say he has been engaged and enthusiastic through the week. We saw him yesterday. He was down here just, you know, having free surfs. he still wants it, for sure, no doubt about it. You know, his potential is just, I feel like he hasn't reached it yet. You know, he's such a damn good surfer, especially in conditions like this. You know, he would have come down this morning just going, yeah, I'm on today.
Most definitely. Up against Kayo, though, he'll be super hungry, and he seems to have tapped into a similar mindset to Seth Moniz in this event. Obviously up against the ropes and needs to fight hard. Let's have a look at the head-to-head history between Geordie and Kayo. And it's pretty damn close there. Average heat scores are pretty high for these two competitors. Kayo actually with the head-to-head edge, 5-4. But yeah, I just think with the conditions that are on offer today, Geordie's the one that might have the advantage.
Yeah, I think so. And out of those head-to-head matchup, the most important one would have been the Bells final, where Geordie got the win over Kayo in conditions not too dissimilar to this, big open face waves. So he'll have good memories of that.
Well, 13.5 minutes remaining here for Ethan Ewing to turn his round of 16 heat around and potentially get himself into the quarters. He needs a 5.95. Seth Moniz hanging on at the moment, the 26-year-old. We'll see how Ethan deals with this pressure. One thing for Seth coming up against Ethan, even though Ethan's by far the favourite in this heat, is, you know, he's very comfortable sharing lineups with Ethan Ewing. These two have surfed against one another a whole lot, stayed with one another on the North Shore before. Obviously both featuring in that new Trilogy 2.0 film. So it's not new territory for these two to be sharing a lineup together, Matt.
Yeah, and not to mention where Seth is in Hawaii, surfers coming there for 2 to 3 months of every year, similar conditions to this, and having the world's best just filter into your home breaks and into your island is something that Seth's used to, and he gets to see the cutting edge of surfboard design. He gets to see the world's best in powerful waves, and I think he wouldn't have been phased that he was up against Ethan. It was a tough draw, but at this point in time, he's doing everything right, and he's putting his best foot forward.
He sure is. Thinking about this contest, the history of this event kicked off 1985 as a championship tour contest, and really it's been won by many of the greats. Tom Carroll, Mark Occhilupo won the first event here. Dave McCauley, Barton Lynch, Adriano de Souza, he's been hanging around the event, was coaching Leonardo Fioravanti. But then as a QS, a lot of champions, surfers winning through in the event there. Same on the women's side too. Former world champs, the greats, victorious at this venue, as we see Ethan now with his first real solid opportunity. Chasing a 5.95. Nice top turn there. Big section to hit at the end of this one. Tricky, but does well to hang on for the finish. Probably one of the tallest hunks of whitewater to bank into so far this morning, and Ethan did well to hang on to control.
It's the first time, really, this event where we've seen that converging whitewash that we're used to seeing when conditions really start to lift. Ethan Ewing tackled that final section. I thought for a second he wasn't going to make that final turn. He's a strong lad. As we watch the replay here, Seth Moniz just took this wave really late and ended up running away from him, so he just had to pull through. And behind him, second wave of the set, Ethan. Another late drop, draws off the bottom, very smooth. Sizzling little cut back into the whitewash. Great patience there, waiting for this section. That was a nice clean carve. And then here, that big wall of whitewash comes at him. And he just manhandles it.
First thing comes to mind is it was one of the biggest waves of the exchange between Seth and Ethan as well. That last turn, a little bit of drama. But on that second snap, the way that he actually shuffled his feet a little bit and opened up the wingspan just to release on a step-up board, no doubt. And often when you're riding a longer rail board, your turn has to be adjusted a little bit, your technique, because you've got more rail in the water and you can bog. So it was a nice adjustment there from Ethan to get that board on that second turn snapping around.
5.95 is the requirement, as you said, Matt. Bigger wave. Got to say though, for Ethan Ewing, to me, he looked disconnected on that wave. He didn't look like he sunk the first turn, you know, as quickly and as swiftly through that rail carve as he should have. And the second turn, even though he hit it in the right place, he kind of ticked the boxes of the criteria where he hit it. He kind of lost some of that typical perfect technique and style. He almost looked overextended in that second move. So wouldn't be surprised if the score goes there, but it's not one of Ethan's best.
No, it'll be really close comparing it to that 5.93. So judges will throw some scores in now. Might be marginally better, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, he's just looked, you know, by his measure, if he was to break this wave down for himself, he would say the same thing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Mid-face carve to get started, and this turn is just a little bit funky as he rides out of it. And as a result, he's almost mistimed on the final section. Difficult wave to ride, no doubt, but I think that's why the judges didn't go too crazy with it. 6.27, as we thought, enough to get him into the lead, but the door's wide open for Seth here. He only needs a 5.7 to get back in front.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking of that 5.37 of Seth's. He didn't get that. He's kind of looked like he wanted a fourth turn on it. He didn't get the finish. So I feel like had he got the finish in there, that would have been up around the same score. So we'll see what the answer back is for Seth.
Oh, something big standing up on the outside here. And it's Seth caught deep.
I think it was Kayo, mate.
It was Kayo,
yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, that's, you know, like I said, I think a huge opportunity it has been presented to Seth here. That wave, you know, typically we'd expect Ethan to go excellent on a wave like that. I do think it laid down that first section on him a little bit, which prevented a really dynamic opening move. But, you know, I'm sure if you said to Seth, hey, with 8 minutes to go, you're going to be chasing a 5.7 and have priority on the outside against Ethan Ewing, he would take that.
Yeah, absolutely. Normally, in any heat against Ethan Ewing, you're needing 8s and 9s. It's just the caliber of this guy. That's why he's second on the ratings at the moment. Ultra reliable to put down some big scores.
Matt, hasn't it been awesome just to watch the heart that's been shown by those surfers below the cut line throughout this event? They've done so well to give themselves a shot here on finals day. And this heat, I mean, 7.5 minutes time, or 7.5 minutes is what Seth has to potentially lock in his place on the championship tour or lose it.
Yeah, it's this is the game, and these surfers are here for it right now. And their careers are they're not over if they do get the cut. It just means they get relegated back to the Challenger Series, but they want to surf those dream locations. They want to go to Cloudbreak, you know, they want to surf Chopu. They want to have a chance at that final 5, and needing a 5.7 with 7 minutes left, he's got priority. So this is what they train for. These are those scenarios where, you know, you're in bigger waves and the coach starts to do heat drills, and this is where the game starts to be played. And, you know, does he go for that 5.7, or does he try and extend it a little higher? Does he go for a 7 or an 8? This is the thinking that he's got to try and
such a good process. Such a good call.
Because Ethan only needs to drop a 5.93.
Well, this is the first time where Seth has actually been in second place through the whole heat. Ethan's taken the lead. Pressure's instantly been handed to him. So, as you said, Matt, there's a difference between surfing offensively and defensively, you know, and I feel like if he moves back into defense mode, because he's been in attack mode this whole heat, and if he switches his mindset right now, then, you know, he's in risk of failing. So I think he needs to maintain. Let's see what pressure does.
Yeah, I think even though we've got bigger conditions here today, Matt, the numbers sort of suggest from this opening heat of the day that it's just still a little tricky to find the critical sections of these waves. I don't think it's as steep as maybe it looks at times, but Seth's going to try and make something of this wave. Beautiful turn to get started. One of the strongest opening moves we've seen in this heat so far. Just transitioning now, adding extras, hoping this one stands up for him on the inside. And he's going to get bumped off, unfortunately, but thought he read that wave really well. If he was able to project it above that impacting white water at the end there, potentially would have got the 5.7 he needed, because he did start so strong.
Yeah, that was a great opening manoeuvre that Seth performed, and then he backed it up with another, and just unfortunately not able to get to the finish. So it will cost him that score.
He knows too.
Well, it started off good. Another deep bottom turn there, a little bit chattery. Nice opening slash, and this one just another replicating that top turn carve, and here he needed to finish it, lays down flat, so he's carrying that momentum, and it gets really turbulent. It hits the lip line and unable to ride out, and I mean, it's so shallow there, as we know, and all the turbulence, but some really good signs here, but he just didn't get the finish. And I can't see that this wave's going to get that score, but the interesting thing to note, he at 5 minutes and 10, well, it's close.
Yeah, 5.23, and you can see that he probably would have got the number he needed. Just that opening move set one of the deeper rail turns of the heat so far on that opening section, and that's a big opportunity lost there to put the pressure back on Ethan. But Seth's back out there. Let's hope that we see a couple more exchanges here, but you know, you just don't see Ethan. You know, it's actually been like he's been building and just finding his place on this lineup. I don't see him misreading another ride out here. I think he'll get rid of that 5.93 and increase the total.
Yeah, I think you're right. Although with this increasing swell, you tend to see a series of waves come through during a set. This is Geordie's first wave.
Geordie Smith, heat 6, the round of 16. He's up against Kayo Ibelli. Nice swoop to get started. And he really irons out the bumps in the face of this lineup early on and gets a clean finish as well. Well, solid work there from the South African. Nice mix up with his moves too, Matt.
I love how at the end of that completion, he stayed on the board, he got over the shelf, and now he's laying down. He's really reducing the amount of downtime in this heat because he's going to get straight onto that ski and it's going to pull him around. Seth got out the back in 2 minutes. He's got 3 minutes now to save his spot on the tour.
Wow. You can feel that pressure building, and Seth's not going to waste any time out the back. He's going to get surfing, digs in on the first turn, trying to save his place on this tour. Huge floating re-entry.
Wow.
And in a heat rich that's been short on highlight manoeuvres, that stands out.
Yeah, it does. Big final section, and Seth Moniz just attacks it with intent to stay on the tour, to stay on his surfboard, and he's done it. You'd have to think that just the intensity of that final manoeuvre, the combination, it's going to go there. So perhaps a little bit of pressure now back on Ethan Ewing.
Loved it. Just loved the way that he lined up that final section, and sometimes the bigger ones are a little easier to read without the bump and boil of those smaller waves. They draw off the reef a little different.
So eyes down the line, and a solid wave for Seth, and nice snapping hook there to start, and here it all comes down to that, hits the lip line, and a little bit of drama at the end, and rides out clean. So gets that completion.
Ewing on the outside now. This might be his last opportunity to turn this heat, with a number still coming for Seth. Oh, a nice finish there as he climbs up over the shelf. So this is going to be a very close one, and he is definitely making sure that he gets back out in front of that whitewater and does a very good job to hang on to get the completion. So this is going to be close. Ethan, he's not in second spot, but the feeling is that Seth Moniz is going to drop a bomb, and he does, an 8.17, an excellent number for the Hawaiian, fighting to keep his place on the CT. And Ewing now needs an 8.4 out of his last ride.
Oh my gosh. Talk about clutch. Talk about pressure. The young man from Hawaii, Seth Moniz, drops an absolute nugget right when he needed it.
Talk about hard. Let's have a look at what Ethan did on the outside.
Yeah, so holding that first bottom turn and that trademark top turn carve for Ethan. And again, hits the lip line there, just a little Rio, and lines up this end section and gets that layback throw and a little bit of airdrop at the end. So this is going to be a fantastic answer back for Ethan too, but needing the highest wave, or the highest score of the heat so far. And this is a contrast. They're going to, judges will be doing this right now and comparing it to Seth's wave. And Seth hits the lip line, it comes down with a lot of drama there, and you know, gets, I mean, bigger waves. So
Ethan's wave had spark, but Seth's wave, it just detonated on the inside, and he just exploded through the section. 8.17, Ethan Ewing fell short on his last wave, 7.17, and this one is coming to a close. Seth Moniz has done it. He has saved his place on the CT, upsetting the world number 2. What a performance in this first heat of the day. What a start. Do you think Doug Silver's happy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, he's feeling
the
it.
techno's raging. The doof has begun.
Oh, I got goosebumps.
That's huge. Griffin Colapinto runs down to hug it out with the coach. What a performance. You know, Seth wasn't just up against himself in his position on the rankings, the confidence that would have been lacking coming into this event after a 33rd at Bells Beach. He was up against a guy that, you know, many believe is a great chance at breaking through for a world title this year based on his form. And it doesn't get tougher in big conditions, in big right-handers than overcoming Ethan Ewing, and Seth's done it here.
Nah, he's climbed a huge mountain this morning. Great sportsmanship there from Ethan Ewing, just congratulating his mate.
Huge smile on the face of the young Hawaiian, and for good reason. We're going to take a quick break. More big heats coming your way on finals day. Well, WSL teamed up on a coastal restoration project with Nature Conservation Margaret River region and their Youth Marine Steward program to work together in healing the landscape to prevent erosion and to learn more about this incredible ocean ecosystem. We planted local native coastal plants and laid brush. So tell us what you're doing to protect the ocean by posting on social media with the hashtag WSL1Ocean. Keep the zone as pristine as Margaret River. A big shout out to all those involved in preserving this incredible part of the world as we get set to watch another big clash unfold. Jake Marshall and Imai Kalani DeVault fighting for a place in the quarterfinals here. Heat 7, the round of 16. California will be out there in the red. The surfer from Maui will be out there in the white. But man, oh man, what a way to kick off the day. Unbelievable stuff. Ethan Ewing, Seth Moniz, fighting for his place on the CT. Man, it doesn't get better.
And it's Saturday afternoon over there in Hawaii right now, and people waking up in Australia and all around the world. Just, this is the TV is showing surfing right now, and it's something to rejoice, but also there's going to be a few tears around the world today. This is the cut, and people's careers are on the line.
It's a good moment here. Griffin Colapinto just going down to congratulate his buddy. Seth would have been acutely aware of what he had to do there. And mate, he would feel like he's just won the event.
Absolutely. Classic case of not the size of the dog in the fight, but the fight in the dog. And Seth was in full attack mode in that heat. Loved it from the outset, you know, got busy. Whatever nerves he had, he surfed them out of his system, had that shaky moment with a fall and bounced back big time, as we see Jake Marshall on the replay.
Wow, incredible down carve there from Jake. Thought it was Geordie there for a moment, and that's a full compliment to Jake Marshall's power attack on this wave, and nice cutty at the end there, and he finishes with control, so a fantastic opener there for Jake Marshall.
Imai Kalani getting in on the action too, Rich.
Yeah, Imai drawing hard off the bottom there. One of the stylish surfers, the most stylish surfers on the tour. A series of smooth carves on the open face. Comes through to the inside section. It stands up. Quick snap and redirect.
Oh,
He's got eaten alive.
Didn't he? And this was Geordie behind him. So Geordie just gaffing that first turn. The angle nice and tight. Quick snap. Comes around, hits this inside section, and just so smooth.
Yeah, the 7-point ride from earlier on for Geordie.
just watch how controlled Geordie is. There's just no bobbles in his surfing at all. Just really manhandling these waves, and the ground swells just not creating any havoc for Geordie. Looking so solid as he hammers that and rides out with composure.
Yeah, 5.5 for Geordie on that second scoring wave. Out in front, Kayo. Can he pull a Moniz, a Seth Moniz, and get himself through this massive heat where, you know, on the stats, he has a slight edge over Geordie, but you look at the lineup that we've been presented with today here at Main Break, and you just sort of think to yourself, wow, Geordie's certainly got the edge. Kayo, though, loves a clash with a big name and has upset so many of the world's best before in conditions that favour them.
Absolutely. You know, Kayo is one of the most sort of dogmatic and determined competitors on the tour. He's just so persistent, and he pulls off these performances in these clutch situations. You know, this is a big heat for him, no doubt. His position on the tour under threat, but Geordie, he's built a really good score so far.
Yeah, and Kayo, you know, he's here with his rusty teammates. He's got some great boards under his feet. He's been spending a lot of time there on the Gold Coast, relocating there, and Australia feels comfortable for Kayo. And you know, he's like Seth. You'd say he is the underdog in this heat right now, but he has proven that he can rise to the occasion. Margaret River's been a great event for him in the past, and he's got 12 minutes 50 to show us why.
Yeah, Kayo's all over the event site. Like, he's actually all over it. There's these big novelty Kayo heads that all the fans are carrying around. That's got to boost your spirit, you know, for someone like Kayo, who's been a battler on his road through to this point in his CT career, just to be so celebrated at a championship tour stop. It's got to lift the confidence. As we see Geordie up again, though, trying to get rid of the 5.5, as you said, Matt. Very clean, smooth, through the bumpy conditions, no dramas, as he, again, gets a strong finish on the inside. Finding some big sections and maintaining control there, as Jake Marshall gets one on the outside. Been super impressive watching the lift in Jake Marshall's performance this season. He's gone from battler to top-end contender as Kayo Ibelli throws everything at that final section.
Wow.
So that was like a 3-4 wave set. 3 competitors getting good rides. Kayo, unfortunately, coming unstuck on his final turn. But Geordie Smith taking that first one, really converting. I feel like he's going to get rid of that 5.5 with this wave.
Yeah. So Kayo fell off, but he was able to paddle back out, not use that jet ski assist, so he may regain priority, and just getting that single turn on the outside, and thought he had to throw something big on the end.
Geordie comes around this section, nice and smooth off the top. A sleepy sort of cutback. Now the wave stands up a little bit better. Geordie cuts deeper on that one. Comes through to this final section, big layback. Somehow outruns that avalanche of whitewash behind him. If he had hit that a second later, it would have been all over. Jake Marshall behind him. Geez, Jake, well, he's in career best form. Sitting in that top 5 at the moment. Comes through to the inside, collects with that final section, and hits the eject button. What happened here, Matt?
Yeah, so this is Kayo's wave. He needed something big, and nice elongated carve here. It was only going to let him do those 2 turns, so he lines up, he ramps up for the layback, and unable to ride out, and if he could, that would have gone excellent. But it all came down to that last turn, and it was incomplete. So, I mean, playing it safe at this point of the heat where he's in combination may not have been the answer either. So really just leaving nothing to the doubt, just going straight for it and saying if he can go straight into the excellent range. And I feel like that would have gone if he could ride out of that layback.
Threw everything at it, that is for sure. A wild one to go for. You know, sometimes the surfers will lean back on that white water and bounce around in the foam and it'll push you back up on your feet, but a hunk of water that big, it's not this.
It's near
impossible.
impossible.
It's going to push you over, roll you around a few times and drag you underwater for about 30 metres.
How pumping is are the waves? That was 3 incredible waves. This is just a...
Really
blessing.
pumping, and Geordie Smith relishing this extra size in the conditions and about to improve his heat score total here. His last ride coming through at a 7.27. Kayo Ibelli in trouble.
Yeah, Geordie is really streaking away now. 9 minutes to go, and unlike that opening heat where our surfers were staying with each other, trading off similar scores, Geordie's he's dropped a couple of hammers here. So pressure really starting to build for Kayo.
Scary thing is, Geordie still looks like he's in 3rd gear. You know, he hasn't sort of stepped out of his comfort zone at this stage of the heat. Looking pretty good right now.
He's doing exactly what he needs to do. I think you're right. I think where Geordie's winning this battle at the moment is he's really making something of those final sections. It just seems like on the opening section at the moment, it's very difficult to find a steep bit of wall that fully allows you to throw that board down and draw out that big carve. But Geordie's making up for it with those big end section hits and great control. Really in a powerful position at the moment. Kayo Ibelli after a 2-wave total of 14.27. Meanwhile, in Heat 7, pretty mid-range scores. Jake Marshall a 5.5. Imai Kalani Devolved a 3.83. As we see Jack Robinson making his way down the stairs here. He'll have a lot of support, obviously.
That was 3 incredible waves. This is just a...
And he'll be up against Italo. What a fun heat that's going to be to watch. Right now, though, let's feel the buzz. What a performance from Seth Moniz. Stace, take it away.
Thank you, Ron. Seth, you must have the greatest poker face in the world. Let's get a look at it.
I don't know about that. I don't know. That was gnarly. A lot of emotions and just like pressure throughout the week. Needed to make that heat to stay on tour, and I did it.
You've done it, mate. You've made the cut. Congratulations.
Thank you. Job's not done yet. I really want to get in a final and win an event already. I've been on tour for 5 years, and I just feel like I haven't really shown my full potential yet.
What's the thought of falling off tour feel like, and how do you overcome those pressures?
I mean, it sucks. Like, to be honest, I don't think I would want to go back on the Challenger Series. Like, it's not where my heart is, and the reality of it kind of sucks, and this cut sucks. You know, no one likes the cut. Feel bad for all the other guys. Lost a lot of good talent, but yeah, I don't know. That's, I guess, I mean, these pressured moments makes these, you know, amazing moments and brings out the best of you. And I really just fought hard and never gave up in that heat, and yeah, I made it.
I don't mean to make light of a tough situation, but that wave coming in, Ethan with priority on your inside, you did an amazing job to position yourself for that wave and then execute.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, got to thank Doug Silva like a lot. He paddled out with me this morning, and we had like 10 minutes of light just to surf, and I had to try a couple boards, and he identified those waves, those kind of like stretched out walled waves that have like 2 major turns. And honestly, if he wasn't out there, that wave looked like a closeout. Like, Ethan didn't go, he didn't even look at it. Looked like a closeout, but since I had that little moment of Doug, I went and trusted it, and yeah, it paid off.
You look like you've been having an amazing week with Doug. Do you want to fill us in more on that?
Yeah, I surf with Doug, and Doug has really helped me the last couple of years, just, you know, getting down my technique and working on like the fundamentals. And we're friends at home. We surf like a lot together. I surf with that guy more than anyone, and I decided to use him at Sunset, and we did well together. And then I had a complete shocker at every other event, And I was like, yeah, you're coming on the road with me. And yeah, it's worked out. And now he's full-time going to be with me 100%. Like, I'm bringing that guy all year long. So you'll be seeing a lot of us together.
Loving that. I'm sure Mum and Dad are watching at home, no doubt glued to the TV and yelling at it. Did you want to say good afternoon to them?
Yeah, well, they're actually dirt biking right now. They just FaceTime me. They're in the mountains with the whole family, but nah, that's what it's all about. Love you guys. Stoked I did it. I'm sorry I put you guys under all that pressure, but, you know, that's what it's all about. You know, it builds character.
Certainly. Congratulations, Seth. Good luck for the rest of the day.
Thank you, Stace. You know, in an event window where there's so much heaviness, there is a real shining light beaming out of Seth Moniz at the moment for good reason. A clutch performance and a big turnaround. He looks sharp, he looks in form. Doug Silver's going to be the guy to lead him to potentially a monster result here, but I'm sure that Doug will also lead the party into the early hours of tomorrow morning here in the West. Just based on the way he's dressed, the way he looks, and his vibe.
He's a real character. He's got a unique energy around him for sure. I think Seth echoed our sentiments in that, you know, he hasn't put in his best performances on the tour yet. He admitted it. So now, you know, with this moment here, perhaps this is a turning point. It's a door he's walked through. He's going to be able to free himself up now, and we will start seeing the best of Seth Moniz.
Interesting things are coming out of these upset results too. Seth Moniz winning through, earning his spot on the CT, means that Sammy Pupo now has to beat John Florence to stay on the CT. So another big moment as we see Kayo still has his destiny in his own hands, and with a huge result could potentially cause some surfers who've already fallen out of the draw to get pushed below that cut line. So Kayo, you know, he's got work to do here. That was a crucial wave to finish, to narrow the requirement and get himself out of combination. He's actually going to try and punch back out through the lineup here. 3 minutes to go. It's going to be very difficult for the Brazilian.
It's going to be really hard from here, especially as this last wave, it's not converting really into a score of any substance. I still feel like he's going to be in combination. Good signs, the opening 2 turns. Kept that opening carve nice and long. The second one, a bit more acute in the angles there. Wraps it nice and tight. Just caught that inside edge, and that put him off kilter for that final turn. Just couldn't ride out through the whitewash. So without priority and only 2.5 minutes to go.
Very nerve-wracking day too for Iago Dora and Connor O'Leary, who drifted out toward the back end of the top 22. And now have to wait and see what unfolds here on finals day. Kayo Ibelli, we're focusing on him at the moment because he is still in combination, Rich, 4.17 on that last wave.
Yeah, it's just not enough to break him out of combination. The total of 14.27 is what he needs, so a couple of 7-point rides. And look, it's just not possible with under 2 minutes to go.
A former world junior champ who's been on the CT since 2016. His highest finish, an 8th in 2022. Had some magic moments that season. You know, really always turns up for the big clashes. But this one, you know, it's got a lot riding on it. So, you know, not surprised to see it get the better of some competitors today. He would have fancied his chances against Geordie, I think, going into this battle, having had a lot of success against him in the past.
Yeah, I don't think he was nervous heading into this. I think Kayo was really excited and up for the challenge, as we have seen him in the past. But yeah, just this heat, he's up against a raging hot Geordie who's looking strong, really confident, and at the moment could be the favourite to go on win this event.
1 minute remaining, and Rich, it's just not enough time in a lineup this big and expansive to find yourself a score and get back out there to grab another number.
No. We've run out of time here, and Geordie's also going to hold him off any sort of decent wave. This is somewhat of a victory lap here for Geordie Smith, who's put up just 2 magic numbers here. A really controlled, committed performance. And yeah, he is one to watch as we go through the rest of the event. Final wave here for Kayo.
Well, Kayo's final wave, and he's going to throw everything at it, just go into full showman mode. But it doesn't finish off that turn. But Geordie Smith, like you said, very composed, very comfortable. Matt feels like he's got more gears.
Yeah, this is good signs for Geordie. You know, we're just moving forward in the round of 16 and he's just cruising. So he's going to have more to show, more energy, most importantly, for the quarterfinals coming up.
Well, Kayo Ibelli will endeavour to get a chat with him. A difficult moment for him, but, you know, one of those real fighters on this CT. And if you know anything about Kayo, you know that he'll get back on that Challenger Series. He's actually living on the Gold Coast now, so he'll feel pretty at home at that first Challenger Series stop. And he'll look to reclaim his position on the CT via a strong campaign through those challenges. We're going to take a quick break here. We'll have a change up in the booth. We're going to bring in Joe, Felicity, and Zach Webb for the call.
The Western Australia Margaret River Pro is brought to you by Oakberry. Fuel yourself with the official acai of WSL Australia. By BioGland, official vitamin partner of the WSL Australia. By Boost Mobile, official telecommunication partner of WSL Australia. And by Shire of Augusta Margaret River. Proud to support the Western Australia Margaret River Pro, which celebrates the epic local surfing culture of this region.
Why I love Quabba Station and Nalu, this region, to me, it's just so special. I had such good memories here as a kid growing up, and yeah, I just feel like there's always an adventure awaiting around the corner. As soon as you jump in your car and you go on that dirt road, you never know what you're going to see. It's just an amazing getaway for me. I feel like every time I get here, I just forget about everything else, really just focus on what's around me. What makes Western Australia so special is it's just such a unique place. There's always something to do. You're either surfing, you're diving, you're fishing. Everything that's here kind of captures your attention. Just the environments are completely different, all on one coast. I've been a lot of places, but I haven't seen a place like this where it just has so much energy and so much raw beauty, you know, all in one. That's why we appreciate Western Australia.
It's finals day, everyone. The round of 16 is still overlapping and will continue to overlap into the quarterfinals. We're crowning our champions on the final day of the waiting period with beautiful conditions. And it's a great time to be in the booth because we've got one of our good friends joining us, Joe Turpel, Felicity Palmatier, and Wadandi Cultural Custodian, Zach Webb. Zach, thanks so much for joining us once again.
Oh, thanks for having me again. Kaya.
Kaya, meaning hello, but it also has deeper meaning, right? It can mean more than hello, is that right?
Yeah, it can mean hello or yes, and also welcome as well.
It kind of reminds me of aloha.
Very much so.
Over in Hawaii. It has so many different types of meanings. I love that you're joining us once again for the call. Last year, you taught me some new words as well, like mordich.
Yeah.
Am I saying that correctly?
Oh, yep, that was close enough.
Close enough? Yeah, it's a good effort.
Yeah. So mordich means strong. So it looks like, yeah, today's a good day to be out there and we're getting some pretty good mordich waves there, some pretty strong waves.
Yeah, first of all, just thanks for being here with us on television, but thanks for having us. And the welcoming ceremony is always such a beautiful way to kick off the event. I got to hang out with you at the press conference as well. We'll watch some action and chat with Zach Webb throughout the matchup here as we've got Italo Ferreira, a world champion in 2019, just getting started against Jack Robinson. The goofy foot is finding a big section, comes down with a backhand hack and rides away. Italo and Jack always provide some big entertainment value. Jack still calling himself the injured defending champion, Flick, since he wasn't able to protect his event title last year.
Yeah, it's a funny one. I was speaking to Jack and he was saying, you know, I kind of am the defending champion. I mean, no one's surfed against me to take away that trophy yet. Obviously, Jack didn't come here last year. He had that knee injury. He won here in 2022. Big victory against John in the final with the whole home crowd. So I think Jack's going to be very hungry to get the win here in this heat. But good, I mean, it was good signs from Italo on that opening wave. My first thoughts was that it was a little bit soupy. There was a lot of whitewash on the face of that wave, but the way he finished it was, yeah, it was really well done. That's such a hard section to hit there at the end.
Also, the priority heat, Imai Kalani-DeVault and Jake Marshall. More waves on the way, still hanging out with Zach Walich-Webb. As we see a mid-face bottom turn, touching the top of the wave is Imai Kalani. And now winding up for a big hammer to finish. Strong, powerful regular foot from Maui. And now Jake Marshall answers, extends that top turn with a strong line off the top. Doesn't go down to the bottom to stay high off the lip line, gets the snap, and he's calling for a board change from his coach, Chris Gallagher. Biggest surf we've had, peaking on finals day as we take another look at Imai's wave, Flick.
Yeah, Imai used his priority there in the priority heat, goes up for that first turn. This is his 883, sorry. So we're just having another look at this one. Couple of critical turns there. And 8.83, massive number for Imai. As we break this one down here, just straight up into the lip, super critical, and the nose of his board almost fully went underneath the water there. Such a hard section to hit, I say that. Early in the morning, there's just so much power, so much, it's just so powerful right now. This is the biggest swell we've had in the waiting period, and those two turns were just hypercritical. That last one there, you don't get any more critical than that. So 8.83 for Imai. And this is Italo's opening wave. So my initial thoughts here were that this was a bit soupy, lots of whitewash on the face, few carving maneuvers here, but this turn I really liked that. That was really, really explosive. Just big lip line floater to finish here. As we see Jack replay, big opening carve there, gouges through that first turn. Taking it easy here through the second, and he's looking to get a finish here on the inside. Just sort of weaving his way back through the inside there, and he gets the finish. So nice opener for Jack Robinson.
Jack on his home break and main break, looking good, whether he's at the box or laying down big turns on the open face. How about that one, Flick?
Yeah, this opening maneuver from Jack was just beautiful to watch, just textbook, and just really putting that board all on rail. A lot of points are going to come from that first turn there. Things get a little bit sleepier through the inside, but he really wants to get the finish here, so he's just sort of navigating this slower section in the wave. You can see him sort of already lining up that inside. So they're just like transitional turns here as he makes his way through to this last turn there, gets a bit of release on the fin, and yeah, easy work for Jack Robbo.
Nice finish there. Has to deal with sharp eye, but in the deal, he can also ride Arakawas whenever he wants to. Pretty rad program for Robinson. Then how about that turn from Marshall?
Yeah, I'm loving what I'm seeing from Jake this year, and it just, I think I heard Rich say it, or I think it was Waxhead when they were in the booth just before, but you know, getting him confused with Geordie just because of his style. It's just the biggest compliment. He's surfing so good. As we get back to live action,
Italo already moving off the top into the open face. Had a 6.0 on the wave with a lot of soup on it. Now he's got a little bit more clear water until the wild end section where he runs out of room onto the bricks. Incomplete on the final turn, but it wasn't his fault. Just the section was so tough as Jake's finally made it into the beach. Board swap with a past Margaret River champion and his longtime coach, Chris Gallagher. Gally will inspect that board to see why they made the board swap there. Jake still with some decent numbers, though. There's the crease right there. We saw it. with that morning light right across the stringer. Jake felt that right away, went into the beach for the change as he's chasing Imai. Imai with an 8.83 and a 5.47. Marshall needing a 7.98 to take the lead and moved into the quarters. Zach, hi. Wow, we've had a lot of waves ridden there, and it's been interesting because we've been talking about, with a lot of the locals, how different the weather pattern has really been throughout this waiting period. And I always love hearing you talk about the seasons here in Wadandi Buja. Could you kind of break that down for us a little bit and kind of what we've been experiencing lately?
Yeah, well, the seasons are actually changing quite a bit, but the season that we're in now is actually called Jeren. So that's usually, we start to see a little bit of the misty mornings, the dewy presence early in the mornings, that little bit of coldness that we get, and we also get some of those misty mornings as well, where a lot of the valleys start to fill up. So yeah, we know, and well, we're hoping that the rain's on its way pretty soon because country needs it for sure.
Definitely. Also, I've always loved your rainbow story here, kind of when we're close to Prevely. We'll see if we have time for that in a moment as we've got live action. Imai Kalani connecting on a cool top turn. The wave's getting full, but he still has really good flow down the stretch. Hits it off the lip line to change gears, but he won't be able to control it. Incomplete on the finish. He was trying to better his 5.47. Had the emotional heat with another Maui boy, Ian Gentile. Both of them were in a must-win situation. Split decision from the panel that went Imai's way. Now he had a couple days to digest that, and he's swinging for an event win on finals day today.
Oh, and he's looking so good. I think, I mean, 8.83, he's already dropped an excellent number. And just then, if he didn't fall on that last turn, I think he was on his way to improving on his backup wave. He was only looking to improve on that 5.47, and I love his style for one. I think he's super stylish, and that first maneuver, he just held that rail so much longer. It was, yeah, I think he was on his way to backing up that, improving on his backup.
8 minutes on the clock, still enjoying our time with Wadandi Cultural Custodian, Zach Wallach-Webb. Could you mind taking us back to the Welcome to Country and the opening ceremony with a lot of the best surfers in the world joining you before the event kicked off?
Yeah, it was really great just to see all the surfers come down, just to welcome themselves to country, kick up a bit of dust there too, stomp up some of that beach sand. Yeah, so it was really great just to see everyone getting in there, participating, getting painted up, and yeah, great day on country.
It feels like there's been quite a lot of growth in the learning, in the healing process, even with the international surfers participating in those events. It seems like the education process that you've been involved with since day one has really come to a really cool place.
Oh, for sure. It's just grown each year. We're starting to see more and more participants. Like, yeah, I think as the word gets out amongst the surfers, they're all getting into it. So, it's been good.
Now with 7 on the clock, let's hear from Jordy Smith with Stace Galbraith.
Jordy, late to the party, brew.
Better late than never.
Could be a big day. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I feel really good. Obviously, take one step at a time, but yeah, just focus on the waves. So stoked we went on hole. Just showed up today, so now you just got to pick them. It was 2-0 going into Kayo before this heat. It's now 2-1. Must feel good to get that ledger a bit closer. Yeah. He's such a good competitor. He always picks the right waves. He got me a bells in the last event. He got me here the last time we surfed against each other here, so yeah, odds were in his favor, I guess, and I think he had everything to lose. So for me, it was just go out there, pick my waves, and ride them. Underdog George could be dangerous. You never know, bro. Well, it's now 5-all across your whole career. What's it like? His career on the trajectory, unfortunately today, not making the cut. You're obviously looking to, be at the top end of the ratings. How important is it to just stay focused on your lane? It's everything. It's pretty easy to kind of get caught up in kind of all the analytics of everyone's situations at this contest. But yeah, like you said, just stay in your lane, do what you do, and if it's enough at the end of the day, then stoked. Good on you, mate. Well done.
Jordy Smith moving through, a longtime veteran of the tour. Seeing Kelly in his heat yesterday with Griff and, not getting the points to make the cut. You're looking at Jordy now as the oldest guy on tour as we look at Imai Kalani. Had a fall on his finish, tried to recover from it there without priority, just up and out. Jake Marshall, change of equipment and pulled in under the hood on the takeoff. That's got to be Jack Robinson. The local boy can find barrels no matter where he is on this coastline or across this planet. And there's something about getting barreled at main break that is such a beautiful surprise, all about great positioning, and Jack still enjoying the elation of going inside the wave here at Surfers Point. He had a 6.17 start, a 4.5 gets him the lead off Italo.
You just can never take your eyes off the wave when Jack pulls into the barrel. Even if it looks like it's a done, he's done, you just can't take your eyes off it because you know he's just going to muscle his way out of there. He is an absolute magician. He just has such a good connection with this area, with this region, and awareness in the barrel. I mean, that was so technical. He basically took off straight up underneath the lip, into that barrel, threaded it beautifully. It didn't look hard for him. It just looks easy. He's here just like toying with this inside section. He obviously wants to finish. A little bit whitewash to contend with there. Nice fin blow there at the end, but then let's get another look at this. Just so late underneath the lip. Makes it look super easy. It's just another day in his backyard, and yeah, it just blows me away every time, just the relationship he has with the ocean.
Big finals, everybody. Thanks for watching. For all of you watching in the U.S., starting at the quarterfinals, which is starting in just a few minutes, the action is now streaming exclusively on WorldSurfLeague.com and ESPN+. In Brazil, watch the quarterfinals and beyond on WorldSurfLeague.com and Globo Play. For details on how to watch in your region, you can scan the code on your screen and head over to WorldSurfLeague.com/ways to watch. That's all happening in a few minutes, so be ready for the change because it's going to be a big day. Best conditions we've had for the waiting period, all happening on our last day of the waiting period, and we've got 3 minutes on the clock. Imai leading the priority heat over Jake Marshall, and Jack Robinson just took the lead in a big way over Italo Ferreira. Jack turning in an 8.6. I was lucky enough to drive around the country with Bailey Zuvic, one of the dancers that welcomed everybody to country just the other day. Obviously, always pays his respects to the Wadandi Buja, and he was talking about listening to country and that whole idea of being really connected. I always feel Jack Robinson does that globally. When he goes to Tahiti, he looks back at the mountains. He talks about the mana in Hawaii and feeling the power from the local culture, the community, and to the waves. And when he gets barreled like that, you feel like there's this something where he's so in tune. Can you speak more of that listening to country and what that really means, Zach?
Yeah, well, I guess, yeah, that's what it's about. It's about listening to country, listening to, like what they say is, Bojara Wangi. So listen to the country as she talks. It's really about that, listening to that wind, watching, immersing yourself within nature and calling out, basically, which, yeah, always gives you that good time, good waves. If you sing out to country or you feel that, it always provides for you.
And really connected to the river mouth where the ceremony was taking place. We did Jack Robinson growing up on Wadandi Buja. Buja meaning country, Wadandi saltwater people.
Yeah, Wadandi is yeah, saltwater people, and I guess that was the best part for Jack to be within this region. I mean, he's surfed probably some of the best breaks around here, from Cabogup up at the Three Bears, you know, right through to Inji, Injured up probably even here, like we say, down at Wooditch down at the river mouth, Budget up, like, yeah, he's got so much surf break to choose from, and that's the beauty of being in Wadandi Buja, saltwater country, I guess.
Definitely. Down to a minute 10 on the clock. Jake Marshall with priority, needing a 7.98. For Imai, he was able to make the cut, surfing in a complete season this year. For Jake Marshall, he's having the year of his life, featuring in the top 5, finding consistency, having big key heat wins, including a win over John in Portugal. He's not afraid of the superstars on tour, and he's surfing with more confidence and belief than I've ever seen before. He's got priority, needs a 7.98. That crease that he had on his first board didn't really slow him down too much. He got out there really quickly, and he does have a chance with a swell like this.
Yeah, he definitely has a chance. It looks like there might be a few lines rolling through. I mean, there's 25 seconds on the clock. maybe he might get another chance here, but I've just been so impressed with what I've seen from Jake this year. He's literally gone from someone who was battling it out to stay on tour to a top 5 contender, and it's been awesome to watch as we see Jack Robbo up.
Jack in the non-priority heat, coming through with a beautiful wrapping cut back on that Arakawa, attacking the lip off the top. He enjoyed that one. 8.6 in the barrel, 6.17. And we'll see if he will keep increasing his total out front. We just heard the horn sound, though. That'll do it for Jake Marshall and his performance here at Margaret River. He'll start prepping for Tahiti, the next stop on the championship tour. And Imai Kalani Duval features in a quarterfinal for the second time this season. The Maui boy looking unstoppable at the moment as we take a Bonsoy brew break. John Florence and Sammy Pupo hit the lineup, and we'll still hang out with Zach Wallach-Webb. We'll be right back.